Like, Trump hogged international headlines. Aren't his theatrics of dancing on rooftop of White House meant for publicity?
The bar opens on the other side. Are you connected? Hello, Peter. You're looking good, Peter.
Are you going to move up here?
Something beautiful.
What does that mean?
What do you? Four ways to spend my money.
Can you give us another hint?
We'll show you. It's just another way to spend my money for the country. Anything I do is financed by me, so in other words, contributed. Just like my salary is contributed, but nobody ever mentions that. Are you going to add another level?
Are you going to move up here?
Like, Trump announced additional 25% tariff on Indian goods, making it 50%, and said in no negotiations. He even threatened to impose 250% tariff on pharma products. Unfair, unreasonable, unacceptable, said India. I think Trump is targeting India as India has hurt his ego. Agree?
50% tariff levied by Tariff King POTUS.
U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing an additional 25% tariff on India over its purchase of Russian energy, the White House said, hours after talks between the U.S. and Russia over the war in Ukraine failed to yield a breakthrough, says a Bloomberg report. The move takes the total duty up to 50%, citing India's continued purchase of Russian oil as the justification. The initial tariff is effective from August 7th. The new additional levy is scheduled to begin 21 days later. India condemned this move, calling it unjustified and highlighting double standards since Western nations continue trading with Russia.
My mother told me, don't you wait for better times. You'll never find them if you're standing in the line. Always remember how to live, not just survive. And even on my worst nights, I trust that I'll be fine. Cause oh, someday when I grow old, with most of my story told, I'll look at the life I made and say, let me tell you about the good old days. Every memory and dumb mistake. Yeah, I'm talking about the late nights, the good times, the mess that I made. Those were the good old days, the good old days.
साथियों, हमारे लिए अपने किसानों का हित सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता है। भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं। मेरे देश के किसानों के लिए, मेरे देश के मछुआरों के लिए, मेरे देश के पशुपालकों के लिए आज भारत तैयार है। किसानों की आय बढ़ाना, खेती पर खर्च कम करना, आय के नए स्रोत बनाना, इन लक्ष्यों पर हम लगातार काम कर रहे हैं.
Trump threatens India. Modi silent. Jaishankar destroys with one line.
Trump threatened India. Modi didn't flinch. Jaishankar answered with just one line, and the world went silent. What really happened behind the scenes? Trump is back, and so is the chaos. In one press conference, he did what he does best, fire shots. And this time, India was on the receiving end. He said it plain. India's dealing with Russia. There will be consequences, tariffs, tougher terms will stop oil games. Classic Trump, loud, unfiltered, full pressure. But how did India respond? Modi didn't say a word, and Jaishankar spoke one sentence and shut it all down. Let's break it. Trump's play: intimidate, dominate, distract. In full campaign mode, Trump needed headlines. He called India-Russia relations a dying alliance, threatened 25% tariffs, questioned loyalty, and demanded a choice: America or Russia. India better decide. He expected chaos. He expected a reaction. Modi's move: no tweet, no talk, just power. PM Modi did nothing. No tweet, no statement, not even a nod. Because when someone throws dirt, you don't roll in it. Modi showed restraint, because silence, when timed right, is the loudest reply. He didn't play Trump's game. He made Trump look desperate for attention. And then came S. Jaishankar. Calm but fire. Not loud, not angry, just sharp. One press answer, one line. India will act in its national interest, always. That's it. No yelling, no defense, just authority. And when asked about America's threats, strategic autonomy is not up for debate. That's a reply. That's how a nation speaks. Trump wanted chaos, he got class. Trump plays loud, but India replied with control. No drama, no bending, no need to beg. Jaishankar gave the message. You don't scare us, you don't own us. India stood tall without shouting. What the world saw. Trump wanted headlines. Modi gave him silence. Jaishankar gave him a surgical strike. Result: India looked mature. Trump looked rattled. The message was clear. We're not your puppet, we're a power. Final word. This wasn't just a reply, it was a statement. While the world reacted, India refused to be reactive. Trump made noise. India made moves. This is how you reply. Not to please, not to fight, but to lead. And when the next power tries to test you, don't rant, don't fold. Reply like a pro.
U.S. President Donald Trump has declared his intention to significantly increase tariffs on India, citing country's purchase of Russian oil. He accuses India of profiting by reselling Russian oil while disregarding the conflict in Ukraine.
Trump logic. EU logic. Buying oil from Russia is financing Russia's war in Ukraine. Buying oil from US, is it not financing Ukraine's war?
Amid the dicey scenario, experts said the much-anticipated India-US trade deal may face some major roadblocks, including mutual mistrust, an unpredictable negotiation environment, U.S. demand for access to the dairy and agriculture segment, strategic autonomy against geopolitical alignment, and a penalty on Russian crude oil imports.
Well, I understand India no longer is going to be buying oil from Russia. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's a good step. We'll see what happens, okay?
Like many eminent economists, Nobel laureates like Paul Krugman slammed Trump over tariffs, warning Trump that he is destroying himself and America. Trump doesn't care. Nothing affects him. Senior U.S. Congressman Gregory Meeks has slammed President Donald Trump for his punitive tariffs against India over its import of Russian oil. Senator Gregory Meeks, a Democrat, said the U.S. president's latest tariff tantrum risks over 2 decades of careful work to build a strong partnership between Washington and New Delhi. Like, China supported India against Trump. Surprising? With Russia on our side, if China cooperates, we can bring Trump to his knees. Agree? India, China unite against Trump's tariff crusade. India, China unite against Trump's tariff crusade. U.S. President Donald Trump's latest trade salvo, a sweeping 25% tariff on Indian imports and threats of even higher duties on China, has sparked unified outrage from both Asian giants. On July 30th, India issued a restrained but resolute response to the new tariffs and penalties, imposed just ahead of Trump's August 1st deadline. China, also a target of Trump's tariff threats and secondary sanctions, responded with firm defiance. Beijing warned that tariff wars have no winners and vowed to meet its own energy needs regardless of U.S. pressure. Russia gives India unwavering support against Trump's tariff warning. Russia said the U.S. president has been punishing those who choose an independent course on the international stage. Zakharova made the remarks responding to a media query regarding the tightening of tariffs by the U.S. administration. Calling it a neo-colonial agenda, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova called Trump's warning politically motivated economic pressure.
It is not acceptable for India to continue financing this war by purchasing the oil from Russia. People will be shocked to learn that India is basically tied with China in purchasing Russian oil. That's an astonishing fact. India portrays itself as being one of our closest friends in the world, but they don't accept our products. So President Trump, he wants a tremendous relationship and has had always a tremendous relationship with India and the Prime Minister. But we need to get real about dealing with the financing of this war. So President Trump, all options are on the table to deal diplomatically, financially, and otherwise with the ongoing war in Ukraine so we can achieve peace and end the war that the Democrat Party and Joe Biden are responsible.
President Trump, I have seen your so-called ultimatum. 10 days for Russia to abandon its mission, for a sovereign nation to bow to foreign threats. Let me remind you, we are not your colony. This is not your backyard, this is the Russian Federation, and we do not take orders, especially not from men who can't even control their own Congress. You send submarines toward our waters, you move pawns across the chessboard. But understand this, we play our own game. And when Russia plays, we do not bluff. You speak of peace, yet fan the flames of war. You speak of sanctions, but your own economy teeters on the edge. And now you think you can command Russia like one of your bankrupt casinos. No, Mr. Trump, Russia does not kneel, not for NATO, not for Brussels, and certainly not for you. You want peace, then stop pouring weapons into Ukraine. You want quiet, then silence your threats, not your diplomacy. Take your deadlines, take your submarines, and take your nose out of matters that do not concern the United States. Because if you continue, then the next 10 days won't bring peace. They'll bring consequences. Stay away, Donald. You are playing a...
You have been gravely misled by Asim Munir. Baloch leader Miryar Baloch sends open letter to Trump, asserting that General Asim Munir misled him regarding Balochistan's resource ownership. He clarified that the oil, gas, and mineral reserves Trump mentioned belong to the Republic of Balochistan, not Pakistan. Balochistan opposes any exploitation of its resources without the Baloch people's consent, emphasizing their sovereignty.
In a strongly worded open letter, Baloch leader Miryar Baloch has cautioned former U.S. President Donald Trump, "You have been gravely misled by General Asim Munir," he wrote. The leader claims that the so-called massive oil reserves in Pakistan do not, in fact, belong to Pakistan. Instead, he says, they are located in the Republic of Balochistan, a historically sovereign region now under what he describes as the illegal occupation of Pakistan.
India won't buy F-35 jets from U.S.
According to a recent Bloomberg report, India has told US officials that it is not interested in purchasing the F-35 stealth fighter. Now, this comes despite growing pressure from Washington to expand its defense imports. The news outlet actually quoted officials who said the Modi government is unlikely to proceed with any major new defense acquisitions from the United States in the near term, despite Washington's ongoing efforts to secure additional high-value contracts. The topic reportedly did come up during Prime Minister Modi's touchdown in the White House earlier in February this year, when President Donald Trump personally offered the F-35 as part of a broader strategic and defense partnership. Instead, Indian officials actually indicate that New Delhi remains committed to a defense procurement model that emphasizes tech sharing, but local manufacturing and indigenous capability development.
Philippines President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. to visit India from August 4, the Ministry of External Affairs, MIE, said. Bilateral talks on trade, investment and maritime are expected on the agenda?
The Philippines and India are expected to sign several bilateral agreements during President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s state visit there. Marcos is set to fly to India on August 4, following the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as the two countries celebrate 75 years of diplomatic ties. The Philippine Foreign Affairs Department says the two leaders will discuss closer cooperation in several areas and exchange views on regional and global issues. Marcos is also set to hold meetings with business leaders in New Delhi and Bangalore, known as the Silicon Valley of India.
We recognize the economic and strategic potentials of India, and we hope to open up possibilities for the future. Several Indian CEOs have requested to meet with the President, a number of whose companies are in active preparations to enter the Philippine market as investors.
The last of the 16 C-295 aircraft from Spain has been delivered to India. The remaining 40 will be built at Tata's Gujarat facility, boosting Make in India and defense manufacturing.
A significant milestone has been reached between India-Spain Defence Cooperation. The final and 16th Airbus C-295 military transport aircraft has been ceremonially handed over to the Indian Air Force.
Under the Make in India initiative, the remaining 40 C-295 aircrafts are going to be built at the Airbus facility in Gujarat. The facility was launched by Tata Advanced Systems Limited and formally inaugurated in October 2024 by Prime Minister Modi and Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez. The C-295 is a versatile transport aircraft capable of carrying up to 71 troops, conducting airdrops, cargo missions, medical evacuation, and operating from short unpaved runways, ideal for India's diverse geography.
Food delivery to Made in India jet engines. Zomato's Deepinder Goyal reshapes future of aviation.
Zomato's Deepinder Goyal has announced big, bold ambitions to build the future of mass aviation, low cost and accessible. And launching a new startup in the aerospace is LAT Aerospace. Goyal aims to build India's first gas turbine engine from scratch. Well, the goal here is to manufacture lightweight, efficient and flight-ready equipment made in India, making flying as easy as taking a bus. Gas turbines are mainly used in aviation, where they supply the propulsion power for jet engines. LAT Aerospace plans to power short-haul regional aircraft, challenging India's historic limitations in this space. Now, if Zomato is successful in this transition, then it offers huge insights into how startups that begin on the quote-unquote 10-minute food delivery model finally move on to innovation, research and development and higher end of technology.
Trump's top advisor accuses India of cheating on immigration. Navrup Singh, author of The Great Reset, warned that grim consequences await India as a result of standing up to U.S. President Donald Trump. Singh wrote in a post on X, previously Twitter, that the U.S. will go to any extent to target India. Be prepared for everything. This United States will go to any extent to impose coercive measures like sanctions on companies importing Russian oil, restrictions on tech sharing like artificial intelligence, graphics processing units GPU, and semiconductor chips by U.S. firms. Imposing quotas to stifle Indian manufacturing out. Even capital controls can't be ruled apart from subversive methods in India, Singh wrote. Remember these guys. Now out of favor. Remember DOGE, immigration and data privacy. Now put on back burner. Now, the focus is on Nobel Peace Prize only. U.S. job report for July. Controversy.
The U.S. jobs report for July. Only 73,000 jobs were added last month, in the month of July. 73,000 jobs, that's far below projections. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is a revision. The numbers for the months of May and June were quietly revised, 258,000 fewer jobs than initially claimed. A discrepancy of 258,000 jobs. This is not a blip, this is a reflection on the US economy. Now let's be clear, jobs data is often revised. It happens under every administration, but this time it hit a nerve. Because Trump's entire brand rests on this one claim: I built the greatest economy ever. So when you get a weak jobs report, it becomes more than a statistic. It's a personal insult. And if there's one thing Donald Trump does not take well, it is facts that do not flatter him. So of course he lashed out. In fact, let me read out from his post on Truth Social. This is what he said: I have directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. In my opinion, today's jobs numbers were rigged in order to make the Republicans and me look bad. So Trump has fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's the agency that releases the jobs report. And why was she fired? Because the US president says the data is fake. Of course, he's given no evidence for it, which is classic Donald Trump.
I've had issues with the numbers for a long time, but today's, we're doing so well. I believe the numbers were phony, just like they were before the election, and there were other times. So you know what I did? I fired her. And you know what? I did the right thing.
The president is the president. Translation: in Trump's America, truth bends to power. Look at the way Trump talks about his White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt.
She's become a star. It's that face. It's that brain. It's those lips, the way they move. They move like she's a machine gun. She's a star. She's a great person, actually. But I don't think anybody has ever had a better press secretary than Caroline.
You heard it right. This is what the US president said, the way those lips move. It's not just creepy, it's workplace harassment wrapped in a compliment. And no one on his team called it out, not even Caroline Leavitt herself. Why? Because you can never question Donald Trump. His officials do not challenge him, they echo him, erasing the line between loyalty and servitude.
Happy with you. Great job. Thank you very much.
So the question now is not whether Trump's White House has become a cult. It does badly look like one. The question is there anyone left to say no?
Trump responds to ANI question on U.S. imports of Russian fertilizer. POTUS says I don't know.
Mr. President, India says that the U.S. imports Russian uranium, chemicals, fertilizers while criticizing their energy imports. Your response to that, sir?
I don't know anything about it. I'd have to check, but we'll get back to you on that. Yeah, please.
हमें कुछ पता नहीं है हम क्यों बहक रहे हैं हमें कुछ पता नहीं है हम क्यों बहक रहे हैं.
But POTUS knows about a lot more things. POTUS what he knows and what he does not know.
Look at the way Trump talks about his White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt.
She's become a star. It's that face. It's that brain. It's those lips, the way they move. They move like she's a machine gun. She's a star. She's a great person, actually. But I don't think anybody has ever had a better press secretary than Caroline.
You heard it right. This is what the US president said, the way those lips move. It's not just creepy, it's workplace harassment wrapped in a compliment. And no one on his team called it out, not even Caroline Leavitt herself. Why? Because you can never question Donald Trump. His officials do not challenge him, they echo him, erasing the line between loyalty and servitude.
Happy with you. Great job. Thank you very much.
So the question now is not whether Trump's White House has become a cult. It does badly look like one. The question is there anyone left to say no?
हमें कुछ पता नहीं है हम क्यों बहक रहे हैं हमें कुछ पता नहीं है हम क्यों बहक रहे हैं बाहर है पानी पानी अंदर दहक रहे हैं
Like, U.S. House summoned Bill and Hillary Clinton in Epstein probe. What about Trump?
Now, the former US President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary are among a group of high-profile figures subpoenaed in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The legal order was issued by Republicans backed by Democrats on a US congressional committee.
Like, Israeli hostages completed 666 days in Hamas captivity. Hamas is not releasing hostages to stop the war. Hamas released a video of hostages and called hostages emancipated, shocking the world.
Have you seen the Hamas released video of Israeli hostage Avitar David starving and being forced to dig his own grave in a Hamas tunnel?
I have, yeah. I have. I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible. And I hope a lot of people do get to see it as bad as it is, because I think it's a horrible thing. Yeah, behind you, please.
Kamchatka quake may have caused volcano's eruption after 600 years. A massive earthquake in Russia's Far East may have triggered the first eruption of the Krasheninnikov volcano in nearly 600 years. The ash plume now reaches 6,000 meters into the sky, prompting an orange aviation alert across the region. Experts link the eruption to increased seismic activity after last week's quake, which triggered tsunami alerts across the Pacific. Olga Jarina from Kamchatka's volcanic response team confirmed the historic event, marking the return of volcanic activity not seen since 1463. Emergency services are closely monitoring the situation as the world watches.
Давай облет, облет. Давай, конечно, сейчас.
Kamchatka quake may have caused volcano's eruption after 600 years. Australian rocket crash. The first Australian-made rocket to attempt to reach orbit from the country's soil crashed Wednesday after 14 seconds of flight. No one was reported hurt.
Bangladesh's chief advisor of the interim government, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, announced that the next national election will be held before Ramadan in February 2026. He made the statement during a speech to the nation. He said he would soon send an official letter to the Chief Election Commissioner requesting preparations for the election ahead of Ramadan. The holy month is expected to begin in early March 2026. The chief advisor also promised full cooperation from the interim government to ensure the election is free, fair, peaceful, and festive. He hoped citizens would treat the voting day like a national celebration and go to polling centers with their families. He urged everyone to start discussing how to make the voting process joyful and smooth in their areas. He said this election would lay the foundation for building a new Bangladesh and called for nationwide unity and preparation to make it a success.
Like, billionaire tycoon ONG pleaded guilty of graft charges in Singapore. Honesty?
Singapore-based property tycoon Ong Beng Seng pleaded guilty to one charge of obstructing justice on Monday in a landmark corruption case that led to the jailing of former Transport Minister S. Iswaran last year. However, both the prosecution and defense agreed to grant Ong judicial mercy given his chronic illness, and argued for him to be fined in lieu of imprisonment. He will be sentenced on August 15th. A second charge of abetting an offense was also taken into consideration. The defense submitted that Ong suffers from multiple myeloma, an incurable cancer that affects his blood plasma cells and renders him immunocompromised. the case has been the subject of major intrigue in Singapore.
Like Tata Motors CFO Balaji became first Indian CEO of British automaker JLR. Good news. And Tesla gave Musk stocks worth $29 billion as reward. Aren't Tesla and Musk synonymous?
Tesla is granting CEO Elon Musk nearly 100 million shares of the company, worth roughly $29 billion. That move is aimed at keeping Musk at the helm of the electric vehicle giant as he fights a court ruling voiding his original pay deal for being unfair to shareholders. Last year, a judge in Delaware rejected Musk's 2018 pay package, which was valued at more than $50 billion, saying the way the board approved the money was flawed. Musk is Tesla's largest shareholder with a current stake of roughly 13% in the company.
Lazy B. 9th September 2025.